Welcome to Tide Pool Crafts. This is the crafts rotation location for Breaker Rock Beach, and I think it's fitting that tide pools go together with crafts because as kids are creating all kinds of beautiful, colorful things with lots of textures, we get to explore a tide pool at the beach when the tide goes out and there's that water that just remains, and you look down and you see all of the amazing, beautiful, colorful creatures that God made. So this really works well as a location for Breaker Rock Beach. Now you're gonna see all kinds of things behind me that look like we're underwater because, well, we are. This is the only location that takes place just under the surface of the water at Breaker Rock Beach. And so you'll get to have lots of water, lots of color, lots of texture, lots of greenery as sea life comes to life in your craft room. So a couple of things that I wanted to show you because we've got a great backdrop here that's could be done as simply as putting up blue tablecloths as a focal wall. And then you get to build all kinds of fun things in front of it. Things like greenery, things like rocks, things like coral as it all starts to come to life. And when you're creating all of your decorations for VBS, don't throw away your scraps because your scraps get to have a new life here in crafts. You'll see that right here, all of these little creatures and all these little pointy things jutting out from the rock and the coral were all just scrap pieces from the rest of our decorations for Breaker Rock Beach. You might even notice your best friend at VBS, the pool noodle. So the pool noodles you'll see tucked down here and tucked over here on this rock. And we created those by simply taking normal pool noodles. You can get them in any color that you've got. And they're very simple to cut, even just using scissors. You can use your electric carving knife if you want. You could use a jigsaw. You can use a hot knife, but scissors work pretty well. So just get a couple of lengths, and it's just simply as easy as kind of hacking away at them. You'll see you start to get a nice cut here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And as you kind of squeeze it together, you'll get a nice angle on that. Start varying your heights and different angles and then stack them together. You can use a low temperature hot glue gun to put them together, construction adhesive. You can even wrap duct tape around it if you want. We were able to glue them together, hold it together while it dried using painter's tape, and then take the painter's tape off. And then you can cluster them together and stick them down into your tide pool crafts so that you get some great height, some great color, and some great texture. Now, I wanted to also show you one other thing because it's been a little while since we have used a hot knife in our VBS decorations, but it is one of my favorite things in the whole world to do. And this is the same technique that we used on this little rock and on this big rock. So I've got a hot knife and I've got some scrap foam so that I can show you how you can create rocks of all shapes and sizes for your tide pool crafts. First off, I have 3 sections of scrap foam, which we've cut into a basic shape of a rock. This is similar to what you would see here in the big rock, or this little rock has kind of a bigger shape in the back. And then we're gonna stack it out to make it freestanding. We're gonna put one here. We're gonna put the second one that follows the same basic shape, but is shorter. And then we're gonna put a third one right in front that again follows the same basic shape, but is a little bit smaller. You can arrange them however you want. When you glue them all together, of course, make sure they're flush at the bottom so that they stand well on your table or on your floor. But that gives you a great solid rock that you can then begin to pin those pool noodles or pin coffee filters that look like little sea anemones or bits of coral, that you can use this as your base for decorations. But I want to show you a trick to get kind of a rough, rocky texture. And that is by using my best friend, the hot knife. You can find these at any kind of store. Harbor Freight has them. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them online. And we want to find your craft knife. It's called a crafter's hot knife. You can see it starting to smoke. That's how you know it's ready. So we're going to run it just along the edge. And you don't even have to cut very much off of this. But you'll see I'm kind of using it at an angle and cutting off just this edge here, so that I'm giving some texture. Here's where the uncut or the unburned section is, and it looks way too man-made. This is starting to look organic. So just by laying the blade edge as it gets nice and hot right along the edge of that craft foam, you can dig it way down deep. You can burn sections in. You can cut a piece off here. All of a sudden, you start to get a very rocky texture. When you do that to all 3 of those layers, glue them all together, paint it up, and you're good to go. And that's a great way that you can bring coral and rock formations to life for your Breaker Rock Beach. I can't wait for you to read all of the ideas for how to bring it to life in your church in the Decorating Made Easy book, and enjoy decorating tide pool crafts.